What up, World Warrior Team? Back at it again. Welcome to the episode. Today we're diving into one of the biggest rivalries of the 80s. GoBots versus Transformers. Two lines of shape-shifting robots dropped at almost the same time, but only one became a global phenomenon. So what went wrong for GoBots? And how did Transformers transform into a billion-dollar legacy that we still watch today? GoBots went out like a thief in the night. They were done as soon as Transformers came out a year later. Nobody really paid attention to them anymore. Nobody remembered the names of the robots. Transformers just came in like a fucking a storm and just took over the robot industry, I guess you could say. Let's talk about it here. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share. You're watching The Setup, a tale of two toy lines. Before there was Optimus Prime, there was Leader One. GoBots actually hit shelves first in 1983, a full year before Transformers. They were created by Tonka, based on a Japanese toy line called Machine Robo. Transformers came a year later from Hasbro, adapted from two Japanese lines, Dynaclone and Microman. Both were about robots that turned into vehicles, planes, or weapons, but Transformers had something GoBots didn't, a bigger vision. I think GoBots was out there just to sell toys. They didn't really know where they wanted to go with it. When Transformers came in, they had a whole plan. The GoBots went wrong. They didn't really have a full vision of what they wanted to do with this toy, but Transformers knew exactly what they wanted to do with theirs. The first problem, simplicity versus style. GoBots was smaller, cheaper, and simpler. The transformations were basic, and their character designs were more toy than personality. Transformers, on the other hand, were larger, more detailed, and came with backstories that made each one feel unique. When you picked up a Transformer, you didn't just get a toy, you got a character. You knew Bumblebee was the brave scout, you knew Starscream was the traitor, you knew Optimus Prime was the leader. GoBots had robots that transformed, but they didn't have souls. Little kids know this kind of stuff. They follow that kind of stuff. That's what makes these cartoons big. When you have characters with stories, that makes the show even better and makes the kids want to get the toys. And that's one of the reasons why Transformers beat GoBots. GoBots was just out there trying to sell toys. They was just trying to be like every other toy and just sell it to the kids, while the Transformers people knew that if you gave them a little bit more, we want to watch the show more, we want to buy your toys more. And that's where Hasbro got it and Tonka didn't. Storytelling changed everything. Hasbro understood something Tonka didn't. Kids don't just buy toys, they buy stories. That's where the Transformers cartoon came in. The 1984 Transformers series was written like an action epic. Good versus evil, Autobots versus Decepticons, emotional stakes. Even the music hit hard. GoBots had a cartoon too, Challenge of the GoBots. It wasn't bad, but it felt generic and rushed. Instead of epic battles and mythology, it played more like Saturday morning filler. Transformers felt cinematic.
Cybertron, life existed, but not life as we know it today. Intelligent robots that could think and feel inhabited the cities. They were called Autobots and Decepticons.
GoBots felt cheap.
I don't think we have time. Look! Allow me the honor, Cykill.
And that's exactly what I got out of their whole battle. Transformers, the production was fantastic. The voice acting was great. The action scenes were amazing. Everything about Transformer was second level for 1984 standards. GoBots just felt like a regular fucking Saturday morning cartoon that little kids watched. There was nothing transformative about that show, pun intended. It was just not a good show, and the voice acting wasn't that good. The characters weren't relatable at all. It was just a bad cartoon, just put on TV just for kids to watch, while Transformers actually gave you something every time you watched it. Marketing. Hasbro's master move. Hasbro didn't just sell toys, they built an empire. They had Marvel Comics write the Transformers backstories, giving them depth. They made the cartoon tied directly into toy releases. They made cartoons matter. Tonka's GoBots tried to compete, but without Marvel's storytelling machine and Hasbro global marketing reach, they couldn't keep up. Hasbro even managed to make fans care when characters died. R.I.P. Optimus Prime 1986, destroy kids' childhood forever. Meanwhile, nobody remembers if a GoBot actually died or lived. That was a massive move having Marvel Comics write their backstories. Marvel's a huge comic book. And to have that on your side, and with also Hasbro being masterful in marketing, the GoBots had no chance. Tonka had no chance. Like I said, nobody remembers anybody from the fucking GoBots. I remember Leader 1, that's about it. And all the other GoBots were just fucking there. You remember everything about the Transformers. I remember when Optimus Prime died. That was a fucking sad moment.
Ranks and use the power of the Matrix to light our darkest hour.
Nobody cared about the GoBots, and that was one of the major reasons why they didn't survive and why Transformers took over.
Calling Leader 1! Scooter calling Leader 1! You better get down here! Turbo's been hit!
But also, like I said, the marketing for Transformers, having kids care about the characters, that all boosted up the Transformers over GoBots, in my opinion. The movie effect. When Transformers, the movie, dropped in 1986, it changed everything. It was animated, dramatic, and honestly traumatized kids. But it worked. It felt like an event. It showed Transformers weren't just toys, they were legends. GoBots tried the same thing with GoBots, Battle of the Rock Lords. But the animation was weaker, the story was forgettable, and the audience already had moved on. Transformers expanded the universe, GoBots closed their door. So I don't even remember GoBots Battle of the Rock Lords. That's how bad that fucking toy line was and cartoon was. I actually have to watch that shit because I do not remember that at all. But I definitely remember the 1986 movie. I didn't watch it when it first came out. I watched it about a year later. But it was still traumatic watching him die. Watching Optimus Prime die as a little kid. That shit was fucking wild. Little boys come out the movie theaters crying and shit. Crazy.
I'm not going to know what's the react from audience.
Yeah, kids were crying in the theaters. We were hearing about people leaving the movie. We're getting a lot of nasty notes about it. Indeed, we had some kid that locked himself in his bedroom for 2 weeks.
Do not grieve.
Nobody had the heart to tell him this. We already had an episode in the pipeline where Optimus comes back as a zombie and you kill him all over again.
Soon, I shall be one with the Matrix.
And that's how much we love Transformers compared to GoBots. Like I said, I don't even know what Battle of the Rock Lords was. That is so bad. And it shows how they completely destroyed that franchise. The final blow, the buyout. In 1991, Hasbro actually bought Tonka. And with it, the GoBots brand. They folded into Transformers continuity, turning the once rival brand into background lore. GoBots literally became Transformers canon. It's like your rival becoming a footnote in your biography. GoBots were gone, absorbed by a machine they inspired. That's kind of fucked up if you think about it. They just took them over. I don't remember the buyout, and I don't remember any storylines containing the GoBots in it after they bought them either. There might have been some I missed, but I don't really recall that. If you guys remember, let me know, and I'll look it up because I would love to see a cartoon with the Transformers and the GoBots in the same episode. But that's the ultimate fucking end of your fucking legacy when a company that took over the Transformers universe buys you out and then puts you in their story and never uses you. That's fucking check and checkmate. Why Transformers won? Number one, better storytelling. Every robot had a purpose. Number two, bigger marketing. Hasbro plus Marvel equals unbeatable. Number three, iconic designs. Sleek, complex, and personality driven. Number 4, and most importantly, the emotional connection. They made you care. GoBots were first, but Transformers made it matter. So what I think is GoBots came out first, about a year before Transformers tried. The Transformers people saw what the GoBots did, and they made everything better. They stepped up production. They made the cartoon better. They made the robots better. They made the robots better looking. They did everything the GoBots did, but they enhanced it ×2. And when GoBots saw that, they couldn't compete with it. Especially when they got Marvel on their team for characters and stuff. They had no fucking chance. They should have just got DC or something like that to try to compete with them. But it was over. Hasbro just had the smarts to get it done, and Tonka didn't in the end. And that's what matters at the end. And like I said, emotional connection is the main part. The people cared. The kids cared about the characters. I cared about Optimus Prime. I cared about Bumblebee. I cared about these characters. My favorite Transformer is actually Starscream, a bad guy. Like, when you can care about villains, you know you won. The legacy. Transformers went on to spawn multiple cartoons, comics, video games, and blockbuster films. GoBots, they became a trivia question. They didn't have their own cartoon once, but give credit where it's due. GoBots walked so Transformers could roll out. There had to be one. It had to be a first. GoBots was the first. Tonka had a good idea. Hasbro came along, saw what they did that year, and made it better. That's what happens in business. That's what happens. They didn't completely copy them. They just made what an existing product better, and that's what a lot of companies do. But you just still got to give them credit for coming out with an original idea. It was a good idea. They just didn't have the resources that Hasbro did to flesh out characters. They didn't have Marvel backing them. It was just an all-out takeover when Transformers came out. GoBots may have started the idea, but Transformers perfected it. One faded into history, and the other became history. That's gonna do it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. You could have been on anybody else's channel and you decided to watch mine. I truly appreciate it. There's only 24 hours in a day, and you give me a couple minutes at a time, so thank you. Hope I didn't waste it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. That's gonna do it. Have a good one. I'll get it to you on the next one. This is